You know, chums, I often say here on the show, it's a tough world in the land of show business. Make no mistake about it. And 1 minute you're in, 1 minute you're out, and then all of that sort of stuff. And very quickly, things start to turn very badly, very quickly, right? And the bigger problem that you've got with that is when you thought you were loved, liked, honoured, vetted, all of that sort of stuff. Now, having been in show business a long time myself, my motto has always been, you're only as good as the last show, the last performance, the last comedy gig, whatever, because you've got to do it all over again. And this was really replicated to me by certain super producers that I worked with in the record industry. You know, they could be sitting at number one, but as they pointed out very quickly, they've now got to think of the next number one because that's what the public want from you. You get the picture. This is not always the same in the land of politics where you're cosseted, looked after, you know, told you're marvellous, all of that sort of stuff. And this is the problem now facing the woman that could have been the very first female president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. As ever, let me explain. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as ever, welcome one and all brand new subscribers. Lovely to have your company. It's an interesting thing. I met Kamala, you know, very briefly on that trail of the being the president or whatever. And, you know, it's a tough gig. You know, let's be honest. If you're going into politics, it's certainly not for the faint-hearted, right? And the problem that you've got with that is, you know, everybody loves you around you until you're not winning. And the problem, oh, we haven't had a wave, have we? And the problem is, when you're not winning, it's very hard, isn't it, to take on board. Now, Kamala has decided to put out this book. I think it's 107 days, and it details her rise to, you know, getting the call to start to run to become president of the United States. But in my opinion, and I'm not being unkind, it's just what you see, I think she was sort of badly advised on both sides, you know. She kept away from the media when she should have been trying to endear herself to the media because people need to know what you're about. And while the others were careering ahead, she was failing in the background. Of course, the book's going to be fascinating because it's a moment in history, and not just a moment in history, it's all really about what it would have been if you'd had the very first female president. And if you remember along the way, and this is the fascinating bit, along the way you are given so many wonderful opportunities, front covers on glossy magazines, meeting certain celebrities. Everybody wants a slice of the action because you are on the rise. Politics and show business are not that far apart in this modern day age. What you find out though is very quickly when you've got a book out and the publisher has paid you a huge advance to detail a lot of stories, well, man, you've got a problem. And this is the problem now that Miss Harris is facing. You see, if you remember, upon the rise of becoming the first female president of the United States, she had hoped, let's not forget, that she was going to, well, be having the support of the likes of Beyonce. And remember, she turned up at the, is it a town hall you call it? Something like that. And then we had Oprah Winfrey gushing for hours on end virtually. And all manner of other sort of people like superstar actresses, Julia Roberts and, you know, other big names. And suddenly you're thinking, wow, this woman could be going places. Fast forward a few months, you know, 9 months to be exact, and then nobody wants you anymore. And suddenly it's a really tough call. And the problem is, according to a very well-placed source, reaching out to these people who could possibly say wonderful things about the book that you've written, well, guess what? It's fallen on deaf ears. And ultimately, nobody seemingly now either wants to be holding the book or indeed has the time to hold the book, even on Instagram, YouTube, you know, Substack, all of those sort of things that you now need to swing it with the people to help try and sell the book. And it's just an interesting thing, isn't it? Because clearly, behind the scenes, I feel sorry for her in many respects. Many people, she can't understand it. She said they would support her. They were thrilled that she was getting a story out there. And it's a bit like the other woman who left the NBC Today show, Hoda Kotb. Well, the problem is she's gone back more times than Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. And yet she only left a few months back. But they can't keep away because in their mind, they still believe that the audience, more importantly, and the people around them still would think they're going to support them. The reality is it's moved on. You're now not part of the picture. And particularly in the fickle land of celebrity, like, of course, Hollywood, well, you didn't win. If you'd have won, they'd have all been clutching the book. And this is the hard lesson that's now facing Miss Harris. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.